Okay, good morning, everyone. How are we doing? We're going to break down our training day, the January 10th. Appreciate you guys watching these, as always. Thank you for subscribing and commenting and sharing these. It's something I'm kind of excited to get started going into. Something I am excited to get started going, or something I'm excited to get into. I don't know what I was trying to say. You get the idea. So, I start off with a warm-up. And I always laugh a little bit. Oh, maybe laugh is what I do now, but it's more frustrating at times. Because when I was taught strength conditioning, for some reason, there was such an extreme emphasis and monetization of a warm-up. People want to sell you warm-ups. People want to sell you do this during your warm-up, do that during your warm-up, this method, that method, blah, blah, blah. The amount of monetization of a warm-up that has existed in my course of my career is so absurd. Oh, do this warm-up for whatever reason, and do this warm-up, and you got to have the neurons firing like this, or the appropriate. For my warm-up, the warm-up is basically you just want to do something that gets you ready to do something. So basically, just do something that gets your heart rate up, your internal temperature elevated. For me, I just did ball handling. I dribbled a basketball, and I went slow to start off, and then I went faster. And then when I was kind of warmed up, I went a little bit faster. And maybe I did a more intense change of direction or a less intense change of direction. You can do something as simple as ball handling is just an adequate warm-up. And at times, probably is better warm-up than a lot of other stuff you might see. People want to, I'm not going to go on this soapbox here. I'm not doing it. I'm not going on that rant. But people want to make the warm-up so long. It's like 40 minutes. I remember when I came up strength conditioning, the warm-up for our workouts were longer than the workouts. Why? I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to talk about that. Maybe another day, if you guys have questions, let me know, and we can go into them. But basically, I got warmed up dribbling a basketball because I play basketball. I like basketball. If you play another sport, do another sport. I don't care. Kick a soccer ball around. Throw a football to yourself. Run routes. Why can't I think of a swing a baseball bat? I don't know. Then I went to these athletic starts, so I lay on the ground and I try and get up as fast as I can from an awkward position. I think it's actually a pretty cool challenge for the nervous system. And the reason why I think this is pretty cool is not just the coordination. You're not going to somehow become super athletic because you were laid on the ground and decided to run. What I think it's cool is it requires you to move as fast as you can as you're trying to in your head from a seated position to an upward position and to a sprint. And that requires lots of muscles. It requires lots of intent. You can't really do these athletic starts and do them slowly. It's kind of weird looking, and it doesn't work very well. So you have to try as fast as you can. And every time, and whenever you try as fast as you can, you're recruiting lots of motor units to move fast. And so it's probably going to be a good activation for your nervous system. And I did that, and then I did it with a basketball, and I did it with my sport. I did some layups and some finishing with it. And then I try and push myself to be coordinatively challenged. So I pick it up and try to shoot it in a weird position. Not worried about makes or misses, but worried about the challenge and proprioception it places on my body. After that, I did some jumping for my plyometrics. I did some distance jumping, or speed jumping, I should say, where you try and sprint into your jumps. Takes so much out of you. And again, this is something I've encountered, and probably I'll reiterate over and over again as I go through this. It's the general demand of trying to run into your jump. Like I talked about yesterday with the deceleration, where you sprint into a change of direction. The faster you go into it, the more loading there is. So I can do a whole bunch of box jumps. But box jumps are never going to have the same entry speed loading that a sprint into your jump will have. The velocities just are not the same, and therefore momentum is not the same. And so one of my goals has been to try and continuously train that high velocity entry speed through a variety of means. I might do it with hurdle jump. I might do it jumping over a rope. I might do it with dunking. I find that variety keeps me engaged a little more, and I feel like if I just try and dunk every time, it gets boring. But also I'm just doing the same pattern, and because it's such a high speed, maybe it causes more aches and pains. I don't know. Just a thought. But moral of the story is it's really demanding. And if we want to get faster and more explosive, we got to do those demanding things. But also if you want to build the capacity to do it, you got to do those demanding things. And so I'll do stuff like that. And then when I get tired, then I'll go into some really just simple jumps, really low velocity, like low velocity, quick foot jumps, awkward positions. I call these springy jumps. I'm not jumping my highest in terms of my maximal possible output that I could do if I ran into it and jumped. I'm just trying to be quick off the ground, and I'm not going to dunk it every time. I'm not going to be perfect every time. It's just trying to challenge yourself in these awkward positions. So then I went upstairs, and I went into, this is from the athlete training team. Shameless plug if you guys want to join it. This is a push. We did a push press today. I don't do well with push presses. I actually do really well with behind the neck push jerk and band assisted jumps. I like the behind the neck push jerk if you're someone who knows how to do it appropriately. There are some dangers with it, especially lowering the bar. But when you have it on your back, it's almost like this hybrid jump squat, speed squat thing, because you're able to really drive through your legs. You're not pushing with the shoulders as much. It's just a great leg exercise. It's quick, rapid loading. And I pair that with a band assisted jumps because it mimics that pattern. I was just on the court doing high speed stuff. I don't want tons of impact on this jumping today, but I still want to be quick. So I just did a bunch of impact work on the court. So then on a high speed band assisted jumps, fast off the ground. And then we also had the isometric lunge holds, which I really like. I couldn't really do them as much as I wanted to. I had my back, my hip is tight. I'm not sure if it's from shoveling snow all day or whatever it's from, but it's tight and I didn't want to push it. Old man advice, when something hurts, don't try and fight through it. Just live to fight another day. And I did that with reactive step-up jumps on a small box. I really love a small box with step-up jumps. I feel like if the box is too high, too often you step and you push your center of mass forward after the step. I want to think about hitting that box and immediately propelling myself upward. I don't want there to be a lag or a delay in that contact. Contact up right away. And because I didn't do my isometric lunge holds as much as I wanted to, I went into the Smith machine good mornings. I played around with that from like a static position. I love this exercise. It gets a great stretch on the proximal glute, so the glute tile, distal glute proximal hamstring. That glute hamstring tie-in that seems to be so important for sport. Work on fast and explosive contraction out of there. If I compare that to a kettlebell swing or any other movement, I have not found a single movement that matches that loading of that good morning on the Smith machine. I absolutely love it. Love it. Talking about it right now, I might go try it out again today because I'm just an insane person. As always, I do some random arm work if I'm leaving and I feel like I just want to do some arms because I'm at the gym and the gym has cool upper body exercises that I would like to do, exercises, equipment that I don't have at home. I want to try it out. And don't be so caught up in your training program that you're like, I used to be like this. Well, I can't do the arms today. I have to bench tomorrow. There's no way. Your programming is not that important. It's not that picky either. If you really have a big bench press day tomorrow that you're excited about, then maybe just avoid things that are going to affect it. But if you're like so caught up, this is how I used to be at training as a whole, so caught up in training that it got in the way of my training. I know that sounds weird, but it's a thing. You get so caught up. And I was going to do this, I want to do that. I'm going to do this tomorrow. I hope I do X on my deadlift or whatever. I just didn't enjoy training anymore. I just got so caught up in training that I didn't even got in the way of my own training. And so do random arm exercises, do random shoulder stuff, do random chest press. It'll probably be just fine, especially if you are doing it because you enjoy it and you like it. I really like to do cable column curls and tricep extensions. I normally don't get to do them because they're being used in the gym. The college kids have gone home. There's more space in the gym. I wanted to try it out. I will be continuing to do more random arm exercises, shoulder exercises, back exercises, because I want to. And that's just how it goes. So deal with it. And then at home, I did some isometrics on the belt squat because I couldn't do them during the workout. And I like to do my isometrics because I feel like it really helps with my capacity, my ability to handle lots of loading, especially on my tendons. And for me, it really helps. It just does. If I don't do them, I notice the pains and aches and soreness. If I do them, I'm way better the next day. It's one of the greatest things for my knees. The belt squat one seems to be the best. At first, it really hurt, actually. I didn't like it because I had tendonitis. I properly progressed, got through it, and now I do it maybe every other day. If I do it too much, it's actually pretty fatiguing because it's a lot of load on the body. But it's ultimately a great exercise to do. Here's something weird I was thinking about, by the way. This is a little Max moment. I've been trying to do math problems. You'll see my notepad sometimes. There's math problems up here. That's a math problem. Here's another math problem. Geometry. And I don't know why. I enjoy this. I wish I could go back to school. And I might someday go back to school. But I was thinking about how when I was in school, and how unfortunate sometimes our educational system is. When you're in school, you're not even mature enough to understand school and why it's cool and things you like and things you enjoy. And then you get out of school, you go into the real world, you experience the real world, and you reflect on all the things in school you really missed out on. I find myself at times reading, history books because I was like, wow, I really missed out in certain history classes. I'm now doing geometry, which I guess I'm not very good at, but I think it's really cool that I can solve the volume of a cone relative to a cylinder. Did you know, by the way, that if you have a cylinder and the cylinder has a diameter of X and a height, we'll just call it Y, and then you have a a cone, so cylinder, XY, cone, same circumference. Did I say that all wrong? It's early in the morning. I apologize. Cylinder, circumference of X, height of Y. You have cone, circumference of X, height of Y. So they have the same circumference, they have the same height. Try this out. I'll give you a second to guess. How many cones volumetrically can fit into the cylinder? I'll let you drum roll. Think about it. It's 3. Why is that so cool to me? I don't know. I guess it's a constant. I guess when the height is the same and the circumference is the same between the cylinder and the cone, 3 cones can fit into that cylinder. And it probably has to do with the gradient change of an angle relative to because the angle at which it's going to be, my angle of my cone, it's going to be relative to the diameter. Circumference. I'm now distracted because I got a phone call. Whatever. That's basically it for the day. As I ramble on about math, I'll share some other stuff that I do through my day. But I was just thinking about the schooling and things we do in school and the aspects of schooling where I wish that we had more, not knowledge, but more appreciation for what we were learning at the time. And I regret that in college. I regret that in high school. Not grad school. I did a really good job in grad school. I regret a little bit about not learning as much as I could have from other departments, but I really spent a lot of time learning self-education while I was there, so I was proud of that. But in college, absolutely poor job of trying to actually learn and explore stuff. In high school, I just ignored everything. So I guess I've gotten better, but I wasn't old enough to really appreciate that stuff. And so I wish our system of education would have a way that would allow for stuff to be learned again, maybe, and not just through self-study stuff, because YouTube's great and self-study stuff online's great, but it's just not as dynamic as being in person and working with someone who actually is a mentor, who knows more, who can teach you about it. Maybe that goes the same for people looking at strength and conditioning as well. Well, that's my ramble for the day. I appreciate you guys as always. Thanks, and appreciate you following along.